our daily lives. How do we maintain it at the same high level? Paano natin gagawin na hindi kumukupas? Well, if you want a scientific answer, the answer is we need to remember. If you want a more scientific translation of how do we remember, well, obviously as a neurologist, I will tell you, we remember through a specific portion in our brain, the temporal lobe, related to the frontal lobe, where memories are buried and from which we draw experiences. But I prefer to say to you tonight that the way we will remember our value proposition is to remember with the heart. And we need to build not only individual, but institutional memory. This value proposition is too valuable for us not to ensure that each day of our lives, each moment that we are here and beyond, and even during the hours that we are resting and asleep, the value proposition continues to animate us. These were all the thoughts running through my mind an hour ago when Risa descended on me. And I said, reaching back in time, drawing from my memory bank, I remembered an experience I had about 2 months ago. 2 months ago, a number of us were invited by my friend here, Dr. Sam. I think, Sam, you should stand up so they can look at you. Dr. Sam obviously is a very outstanding, that's not even quite the word I want to use, scientist and person. Born in Iloilo, spending his first 13 years in the Philippines and the rest traveling the world. Sam Bernal, MD, PhD, MBA, JD, and acquired acting classes in the area of Hollywood. Okay? Biochemist, chemist, physician, scientist, oncologist, lawyer, really a crazy person. And over 2 months ago, he asked a number of us to have dinner with him in his condo. And I said to myself, more scientific talk. And I got one of the most pleasant surprises of my life. We went there. Yes, we had dinner. Fancy. But we had an evening of music. And it was such a marvelous, memorable, enthralling experience that when Risa came to me about an hour ago, I said, the way we will remember with the heart is to have an experience of music. I don't know about you folks, but really there is a lot of alignment, a lot of synergy, a lot of complementarity between medicine and music. Technically, we embed our memory and our experiences in the temporal lobe. Technically, we activate the frontal lobe when we want to remember with emotion. But when you put it all together, and when I ask myself, how do we put together our understanding of our value proposition, patient as partner? How do we, proceeding from the understanding, execute it so that it becomes part of ourselves? And how do we live it out? Not simply as health professionals, but as human persons who are citizens of the medical city, and the medical city carrying the country on its back, which is what this past week is all about. How do we stitch everything together? The answer that comes to me is through music. And so I reached back into my memory bank of that experience 2 months ago. And very quickly I called Dr. Sam. Short notice, can we invite the one I'm about to introduce to you? Who essentially really is the one, through his music, going to give you the inspirational message. Let me tell you a little bit about him. I'm sure when he stands up here, I'm sure that many of you, particularly the women, but maybe the men too, will be trying to restrain yourselves from coming up stage to mob him and hug him and kiss him. I had to restrain myself 2 months ago. He is obviously an artist, but he began to acquire his artistry by coming out with a bachelor in music at the University of Michigan, right? And moving forward, moved to the West Coast and acquired a master's in music from the University of Southern California. Magna cum laude, my type of guy. And moving further, acquired a doctorate in musical arts in saxophone, University of Southern California. But the most moving thing I bring with me, as I try to replay in my mind now the music that we heard that evening, was the information that his mother's is a Montalvo from Batangas. So, through his veins run Filipino blood. And there is a sharing of our DNA. It speaks volumes of him that in a matter of 15 minutes, after Sam called him on the phone, short notice, I discussed this with Gaget and Virgie and Net, and they said he might feel insulted that on such short notice, we're asking him to come here. And I had not even him given the background of this event. Without any questions, and I would like to believe that Sam told him, this is Dr. Bengson, whom you met 2 months ago, and whom you regaled last Sunday. And that was enough to unlock from him the generosity that is so typical of our people. Let me introduce to you Doctor of Music Arts, magna cum laude, my friend Michael Young.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Bengson pretty much took all the words out of my mouth. Congratulations on 43 years of partnerships, human experiences, human relationships, ever-growing technology and expansion. And years ago, I heard about Dr. Bengson through the grapevine. His reputation precedes him, but fortunately, thanks to Dr. Sam Bernal, I was able to meet him at this beautiful house party that Dr. Sam always throws at his condo. It's never a disappointment. It's always an enjoyable experience full of surprises, which Dr. Bengson doesn't quite like, but I guess myself as a surprise was something that brought us here today. So it's looking pretty good so far. Dr. Bengzon is very much a leader. You guys are lucky to have him, and he's also lucky to have you guys as well, because this is definitely a team effort. There are no soloists, as we say in music. There's no I in team. It's very much a full effort. But the reputation of Dr. Bengzon is one of warmth, one of great intellect, obviously. But when I met him on that fateful night, I was struck by not only the intellect, but also the wit, the sincerity, the warmness, the attention to detail, and the openness to new ideas. And I was really amazed that somebody in his position who can easily just stop learning, close the book, and just do his thing and be fine. He's always learning, he's always growing, just like Dr. Bernal, just like many of you. When I received my doctorate at USC, one of the big things that I got from the keynote speaker was that this is just the beginning. Music, science, mathematics, life, it's always an ongoing experience until the day we die. And so I'm very pleased to be here today. It's for Bernal, for Bengzon, for Medical City, all of you guys. I didn't have to think for a second. Anything for you guys, anything for this, not just to stop 43 years, for another 43 years, for another 100 years. So I'm very pleased to be here today, and we're going to do a few tunes for you. We're going to start off with a song that was written by Jose Maria Chan, which seems that when I play it, it gathers a pretty tremendous response from those who are there to hear it. So without further ado, let's get into some playing.